like this one is so long overdue. We should have done it so long ago.
I know. How rude of you not to have sent me a link ages ago.
It's so funny, like when we were talking in schoolers yesterday, because like if people don't know that we know each other, they probably just think we're always like arguing with each
I
other.
know, it did look like it was. That's why I put a note. I was like, yeah, we're our friends. We're not just being mean to each other.
Man, we
Especially when I
should
was
find.
like, you're gross or whatever. I thought, oh God, someone might think that's some kind of like hate speech or something. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna get kicked off.
I'm like, we should find a way to like use that as like promo somehow,
Yeah,
something.
I know.
So for the people that are maybe in the community or on YouTube that aren't familiar with who you are, like just say like who you are, like where you're based out of, and like what you do now, and then we'll
People don't know
get.
who I am. What?
I know for the five
I'm
people in the
sure
world that
there's
that
plenty of
maybe have
people
heard of
who
you.
have no idea who I am. Lucky them. But yeah. So I'm Rebecca Pay. The kick-ass bit is part of my branding, so I annoyingly put that in my name sometimes. But yeah, I do kick-ass CVs
Sometimes.
sometimes. Yeah. So kick-ass CVs is my thing. So I write CVs for people. I'm based in the UK, if you didn't guess from the accent. Um, I've got two kids. I'm autistic with ADHD, so I'm usually at war with my own brain most of the time. But yeah, I just enjoy being on school. I started my community a year ago. We literally just celebrated our 1 year anniversary in my group, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
I've been kind of doing it slowly and then just ramping it up a bit more recently. But my kind of aim is to just help as many people as possible back into work because obviously the job market at the moment is pretty shocking in most countries. And yeah, I think if you give people the right skills and tools, they've got a way better chance of getting a job basically because there are still jobs out there. There's obviously just less of them compared to the people that are looking for them. But yeah,
But
you can set
you
yourself
said
up for
that
that.
you are autistic.
Yeah, I'm autistic. Yeah.
So like there's this guy that I met the other day from Australia, and what he does as a job is he works with people that have autism. Like he's working. I think sometimes he's like either going to their home or like taking them out. Some are younger, some are older. And then he was like, there's like a spectrum.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what we were talking about is like, okay, but how would you actually describe what autistic is? Because the way I think some people say it is like everyone could just be autistic then.
We're not all Rain
But
Man. Yeah.
so that's right. So then it's like, what? How would you like describe what it is? Because sometimes people say, well, there's a spectrum. I'm like, okay, so does that mean like everyone is? But some people are just like very very little. Some people are like, what? How would you
Yeah, I
describe
mean there
that?
is a spectrum, but there's obviously a clinical definition of like if you qualify, then you'll get a diagnosis. Like you have to qualify in lots of different areas. Um, Basically, your brain is wired differently, so there'll be lots of things that you might have in common with someone else. They might be like, oh well, that happens to me as well, or I'm like that with bright lights or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? There might be different things that people experience, which doesn't mean they're autistic. Like it might
Right.
be, but like that, it just doesn't just because you've got the similar traits to someone else. It's like when people go on about, oh, God, I'm so OCD, um, but actual OCD is like a clinical
But I would say,
diagnosis. It's not.
yeah, I would say
We
like I
say it in
guess
a
like
throwaway way, but it's not like
true.
those people don't have OCD just because
But
they
I
get
think like
paranoid they left
you
something
could
out.
say OCD is like you're very strict about having things in a specific order. Like I think people could describe that in a way that people are like, oh, okay. Like how would you describe like what autism is though?
It's kind of difficult too, I think. I would say my brain is wired differently, so I view the world differently and find things like so. Say for example, it's not the problem is it's not going to be the same for everyone with autism, but I will say if I'm in a loud environment with loads of bright lights and stuff, I just find that completely overwhelming, and I might cope with it for a bit, but it's gonna make me I'm gonna want to run away from that and not cope very well with it. And so if I can go on a night out, but I have to drink, which makes me sound like really over the top, but like as if I have a couple of alcoholic drinks, that takes the edge off it being really loud and really bright, and then I
uh
can socialize and I'm fine. But if
I
you put
think
me in
that
that
when
situation without alcohol, I'm like, this is just hell on earth. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here. And so people, oh no, you don't. Yeah, you can have a good time without drinking. And like, it's not like I'm a boring person if I don't have a drink. But for me, that's like I I don't go out very often, so it's not a big problem. But I definitely couldn't go out to like nightclubs and stuff without drinking. I don't know how people do that. Like, I just think it's mad to me. Whereas I've got friends who won't, don't drink, and will still enjoy a night out like that, whereas I just couldn't. That's just an example, I guess.
Yeah, I think when I looked it up, it said something about like it's your brain being wired differently in like social in like environments typically like around other people and like those
Yeah,
type.
often that's the case. I mean, as you know, I can be a bit blunt. Like I say things
I love it.
how I see them, and like I'm quite logical about stuff, but I if I think something's unjust, I'll say. Like I never did well in corporate world because I was the kind of person that would speak out if I thought something was bad or wrong, and that's not what they want generally. Like especially
So
at
like
lower
even
levels,
like
they're
right
like,
now,
you need to be a yes man, not a kind of person that speaks out if the management are getting it wrong. They don't want to hear it.
like right now I have like this black jacket on, black shirt, like phones black, like my iPad is black, my everything I have is pretty much black, and then Rebecca is like, can you put some stuff out in some colors, please? Like this stuff is so boring. But I think that was cool because I think if I would have just stuck to my style, like I would have, or like
Yeah, but I
probably
think
just
there's other people in
make
the group that
stuff.
probably like
Yeah,
the colors as well. Because I've seen people,
yeah,
oh yeah, I love the red
they've
or
been
the
ordering
blue or
them,
whatever.
so
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that that's I'm glad to have. I think like that's needed. You know what I mean? Like we need. I think especially like when you already have a relationship with someone and you know that they are not just trying to be rude. It's like it's very helpful.
That's the
To
difficult
have
thing
that.
I have because I'm better than I was as I'm older, but I don't always sort of know when not to say stuff, like in a situation. And also, if you ask me how I am, I will tell you how I am. So if it's
I
bad,
like
I
that
will
though because
tell you, like, oh
I feel like
God, I was crying the other morning, blah, blah. Like, I
I
won't
feel like a
just
lot of the
pretend.
time, like that's how I want to be. But we live in a world where people are so like sensitive all the time, and so I feel like me and you get along because it's like we can just say inappropriate stuff, and it's like not a big deal. Whereas like I think nowadays, like people, oh my god, she's complaining that they're not a green hoodie. Like it's like you know what I mean. It's like people getting so mad at everything these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, exactly. You could have taken massive offense. You're a different type of character. You could have taken real offense at that and been like, oh
Maybe I'm
God.
autistic too. Who knows? So how did you get into like? How did you get into like this whole thing of like helping people like with their jobs? Like at what point did you realize like, oh, like this is something I could probably help people with?
Yeah, it's a good question because I basically started my business about 11 years ago, which is kind of cool. But when my daughter, because my daughter's 12, when she turned one, obviously I was supposed to be going back into work. And my job that I'd taken maternity leave from basically said, oh, there's no job to come back to. We've restructured.
What was the job at that
I
time?
was working in a school with autistic kids, funnily enough. I didn't know I was autistic then, but obviously had an affinity to these kids.
Yeah.
Um, but they were like,
Oh,
they'd
you were wait.
restructured in the
So
school.
at that time you were working with autistic kids, but
Yeah, yeah.
you didn't know that you were autistic at
No
the time.
idea, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But yeah, so I did that and then got pregnant and went on maternity leave. But then they were like, "Oh, there's no job to come back to. We've restructured." And probably technically was illegal, to be honest. Like in this country, there's certain laws about that sort of stuff. But I think they kind of like, wheedled around with their structure and made it like there's no job when really you're not supposed to do that and stuff. But it was not point. There was no point arguing about it because I didn't want to go back to work anyway. Like it would have the pay I was on because I was the idea was I was going to work in a school as a teacher eventually because I was doing my degree at the same time, um, like distance learning, and I thought that was what I wanted to do. But obviously, then I had a child, and I was like, I want to be at home with my child. I don't want to go back into work and be paying stupid amount of nursery fees and
Right.
childcare while I'm working and getting paid hardly anything. I would have there'd been no money left over. It would have been stupid. I would have been paying just to pay for my child to be looked after. I was like, that's just nonsense. Like that's just stupid. And I didn't want to do that. So I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? Like I need to make like my partner at the time, like my daughter's dad was like making okay money, so we could get by as long as I made a bit more. Like I didn't have to make loads, but I just needed a bit more to get by. So what the hell can I do? Chat to an old friend I used to work with, like from years before. Just randomly started chatting to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I do proofreading and like writing, like as a job." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I just do it myself, like run it as a business." I didn't even think it was a thing. Like at that point, like there weren't that many people doing like online businesses. Like it was a thing, but it wasn't such a big thing. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like
So
now everyone
this
knows
was like
about it, but
this was like 11 years ago.
yeah, yeah. So
So yeah,
it was
okay,
obviously
2014. Yeah.
still a
Online
thing, but it
businesses
wasn't
wasn't a
anywhere
huge
near as
thing
big a
then.
thing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. So it seemed odd to me, and I was like, I just hadn't considered it for myself either. I'd never considered working for myself, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm really good at proofreading. Like I used to work in advertising and stuff, and I've done copywriting training, and I'm just generally a good writer naturally anyway from school and stuff. And I'm just a good proofreader. I'm a good person at finding errors and pointing them out, basically. I was naturally good at it, and I'd done a bit of training in it in a previous job. And I was like, maybe I could do this. Maybe it could be a thing. So I started doing a business. I called it Pay for Precision because my surname's Pay. Um,
Oh, what was it called?
Pay for Precision. It's still
Okay.
officially called that. Whenever you talk about it, 'cause it doesn't
But
really
is
mean anything now. But
pay is where does pay come from?
well, it's just my surname. So
But I mean, like, was that like your always like your last name, or was that like you got that from
no,
marriage?
that's my married surname. So actually, when I get
Okay.
divorced, I'm going to lose that. So I'm going to have to rebrand anyway.
Oh, you're not
But I'm,
you automatically
overseas.
you automatically lose it, or you could keep it if you
No,
wanted
I
to.
think you can keep it, but I don't really want to. I feel like it's a bit weird to keep it.
You're gonna lose your pay.
Yeah. I want to go back to my maiden name, which I quite like anyway. But
Okay, so it's called pay for precision.
Pay for Precision, and I started. I was like, right, I'm going to be a proofreader, but I need to think of a kind of a niche. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a proofreader for small businesses because there's so many small businesses. They set up websites and stuff like that. None of it's proofread. It's
Mm.
just bad copy and there's loads of spelling errors and stuff. People just doing their own websites and it's a bit rubbish. And I'll do it. I'll make it really affordable so these small businesses can afford it. Started going to networking and stuff. It's just kind of outside my comfort zone, so I don't know what the hell I was doing, but like I found ones that I could take my daughter to. So I think maybe that helped because I had my daughter with me who was just like running around and everyone like loved her. And like there was a few groups that were accepting of kids, like I think there was one called Networking Mummies or something, some awful name. But it meant you could take your kids along. I don't think anyone else
I
ever
love
did
that.
take their kids, by the way. It was just me, but Hannah was the
The thing
star of
that
the show. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone loved Hannah, so it was an icebreaker for me, I guess. It made it easier for me to chat to people because
the
we didn't
thing
have
that
to talk
was
about
funny
money.
to me is when I found out, like, I thought like in like England, in the UK, everyone was just saying mom with an accent. I thought they're just like mum, and then I realized it's actually spelled like that. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, yeah, I know. Mom, I find really odd, but although
So you're going
Hannah calls me mother usually because she finds it hilarious.
mother. I love
That's what she
that.
wrote on my
So
birthday card.
so she's like young. You're going to these networking events, and you were going to help them with proofreading.
Yeah,
What
so I got
happened
to know
there?
loads of local people, who I still have in my network and I still know, which is quite nice because if I ever do get to go networking, which is rare now, but I'll bump into people I know, like because I built those relationships so long ago, and like I sort of stayed in touch on Facebook and such. So that's quite good. That's quite nice to have that. Um, and yeah, so I started doing. I picked up a few things. I was very proactive as well. I would look on people's websites, find mistakes, and then email them and say, "Do you realize you've got this mistake? Do you want me to help fix the rest of it?" And obviously, some people ignored it, some people took offense, and some people were like, "Oh, thanks for pointing that out. How much would it be to do the whole lot?" And like, I got a few like websites, and I just had bits and bobs of work coming in, so it wasn't like a ton of money, but it was like going from making nothing to making 500 plus a month was like quite
Oh
nice.
no.
It was like, oh, okay, I'm actually making money from something I'm doing, which was quite cool. And I just looked into other little ways of making money. I started doing cat sitting for a friend's business because she was a cat sitter and she needed an extra person. Um, I I rented out my driveway because I live near the hospital and people like needed to park
Oh
somewhere.
wow, that's
And
interesting.
it's like
Okay.
little these little things. I started being, I guess it's entrepreneurial, isn't it? Like thinking of those little things you can do to make a bit of extra money over those few years, and then getting into the CV writing side of it. I always did CVs for my friends because I'm a good writer and you know, could piece together a CV easily. Like in my mind, that was an easy thing to do. Like it was always
Mm-hmm.
something I would sort out for my friends, no bother. And I think I got asked to do a couple by random people on Facebook or something, and I charged them like 30 quid or something. Um, and then I joined LinkedIn probably 8 years ago, nine. I don't know how many years ago, but a few years ago anyway. Um, maybe seven, I don't know. But I joined LinkedIn, and then someone asked me to do a CV, and he worked in the oil and gas industry in the US. And so it was totally completely different to I didn't really know anything about the oil and gas industry. But he had this stupidly long resume, and it was like rubbish, basically. So I was like, well, I can easily sort this out, make it way better. And then he immediately got interviews and got a new job and was like, he was like, oh, this is amazing. And like, I think I charged him like 60 quid, £60.
What's the difference between okay, quid and pound, same thing?
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
What's the
That's me
wait? What so what's
using
the
slang.
why is there two different things? This is like saying bucks and dollars or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, I guess like
Oh,
bucks,
okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so $60. And then yeah, he was like, "Oh, I would have paid double that because, it got me a job. This is brilliant. Like, you've done such a great job." And he referred me to a few people and stuff. And I thought I was suddenly like something went, "Oh, okay, there might be some money in this." Because for me, I'd always just thought, "Oh, it's a thing to do as a favor or make a few pounds out of," but it was never going to be a money spinner. But it was something I found so easy. It came quite naturally to me. Um, so I just started advertising like CV services, I guess, and it just grew from there. And then that I was still doing the proofreading and I was doing blog writing and copywriting stuff, but I guess the CV stuff kind of took off, so I started just going with that. Like that became the
Oh, nice.
thing. I mean, I still do some copywriting and proofreading now. Like I've proofread entire books and stuff for people, but it's not something I particularly advertise as a thing. I can still do it if I want to, and in fact, I find it quite a nice, like, relaxing thing to do occasionally. But obviously the CV writing became the thing and it just grew from there. And obviously I went from charging, I guess I moved into like £150 or something for it. So now the cheapest, like one to one, if you want me to write your CV, the cheapest package now is like £1,300. So it's like over 1,000.
How did you
Because
get to
obviously
that
that's over
point of
time. I wouldn't have
yeah?
gone
How
in
did
with that price point at the beginning, but now I feel
what
like I'm an expert and I've got these years and of
what do you feel like
experience.
helped you be able to like raise it up like that? Like just like the results or the confidence mix of the two or like what?
Yeah, a mix of the two, and like the fact that I've got like I think I've got over 110 recommendations on LinkedIn now, so from people that have successfully got jobs and stuff. Also, I just wanted to. I love working with senior leaders. Like obviously, I will happily write a CV for anyone, and I often do sort of different price points for people who are like friends or people who are in lower level jobs and stuff, because obviously they haven't got £1,000 to spend. Let's be realistic. Hence why I've got my school group, which is free. But for senior leader people who are directors, people who are earning 100k plus, then obviously that's not for them.
It's a
It's
good
not
investment for
a
them.
huge amount of money, is it? Like exactly. And obviously I spend a lot more time on that. Like you're getting to know that person, the ins and outs of what they're doing in their job. It's something they don't necessarily have time to think about, or they just haven't sat down to do it themselves. Um, and it's yeah, I get it. It's always difficult, isn't it? The price point thing, because it's like people, you'll always get some people who are like, "Well, my God, why would anyone pay that?" But then if someone will pay that, then that's you can charge it. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
plus it's the for me, I always argue that there is value in that because if you at the end of the day, if you get a job that's paying you 150k after using that CV, then it's well worth it, isn't it? Like that's a good return on investment.
Yeah, I think it's like you can kind of quantify that. It's like, well, you're paying this, but if you get this much out of it, then that, or if you don't want to pay it, then just do your own thing. Like, how's that
Yeah,
working?
exactly. Like at the end of the day, the tools are there to do it yourself. Like I mean, interestingly, I spoke to an old client yesterday, someone I worked with in 2021, I think. So it was like lockdown, and like it's when my business got really busy because loads of people were sat at home
Oh,
and
yeah.
decided to get their CVs done. And I got really well known because I spent loads of time on LinkedIn, like doing loads of stuff. And I don't know, I just got loads of business at that time. And this guy I spoke to, he was like, "Oh, I want you to redo my CV because like loads has changed since then, and I'm looking for a new role." And so I had a chat with him yesterday, and it was amazing what's happened with him. Like he was a social media manager when he came to me, and he was looking for his next role. And he was an interesting guy. He'd done like a few things, but he was a bit all over the place. He didn't really know what he was doing. Like he'd worked for a charity and then set up his own charity, and he was just kind of looking for something a bit more kind of stable, I think. Um, and he said to me like after I did his CV, he got like three or four really good job offers. So he chose the best one. And then because he did so well there, and obviously it was social media, so people could see it, he got headhunted like within, I don't know, a couple of months, I think. I went into another job where it doubled his salary, like they offered double.
Oh,
So he
wow.
went to work for them, like this kind of growing company. And then he got moved up to like global head of PR within, I don't know, 6 months or something because he was doing so well. And then he like basically like smashed it and like did like I grew their business by 40% or whatever and like did really really well, and then moved it working it into a startup because he wanted to move on. He worked to a startup, ended up being there. He started off like chief marketing officer and took like 50% of equity, like because he was like the startup was struggling basically and they were a bit desperate, and he was like, well, if I can turn things around, is it worth 50% equity to you? And they were like, well, yeah, we'll take a chance because at the moment we're losing money and it's all going wrong. And he went to work for them and then ended up being CEO because he did so well.
Oh, dang.
And then they ended up selling the company like a couple of years later, like to a huge American company because they got noticed in the US. Basically, he broke into the US market, which is obviously huge because like people say if you can break into the US market, you can break into any market in the world. That's the hardest one to break. Yeah, and so he sold, like they sold the business. Obviously, he did very well out of that because he had this 50% equity deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so then he's had 18 months off setting up his own charity and running that and being a spokesperson and being on the news and all this.
Wow.
And then now he wants a new CV to kind of go back into corporate world. But I was amazed by like this kind of, I was not like having a CV from me made all that happen, but like it was nice to be a part of that, like a little part of that kind of boost of him
Where
getting
are you
into
sharing
that
these
job.
stories?
Pardon?
Where are you sharing like these stories?
I did put it on a LinkedIn post yesterday, actually. He said he'll write me a recommendation, but yeah,
I feel like it would be super cool if you just did like little interviews like this with those people and they
it
can
would
just
be
like,
actually.
hey,
Yeah, I might try and persuade him because I think as he's a PR spokesperson for his company, it's like he's quite used to being out there. He probably would be all right with being on camera. The problem I have with most of my clients is they're not those sort of people. They don't necessarily want to be visible or shouting about what that they've had help with their CV and stuff. So I can't always do it like that. But he might be a good person
yeah.
to ask, to be fair.
Even if you just tell them like, hey, it's just gonna go in the community. That way, other people can get help like with a job. Because like, imagine if you didn't find me, you wouldn't maybe even be where you're at. So help
Yeah, I
other
just
people.
find he was so inspiring, I thought, because he'd recently been diagnosed ADHD as well, and he said that's made him realize like how like his brain works so quickly, and he's always like quite blunt with people and brash, and he'll just go in and get like stuff's changed and ideas and stuff. But he said it's helped him understand why he's like that, and also explain to other people, I'm going to be like this, but it's no, this is just the style of how I work, but just go with it because it will work.
So how did you get to the point where? Because you said like when you were working with autistic kids, like you didn't know that you had autism. Like, how did you get to the point where you did know?
It wasn't until in the lockdown, I took my daughter to the doctors. Can't remember what it was about something. And the doctor sort of looked at me at one point and he said, "Oh, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say." And I
That's
was like, "What?"
crazy. No, that's
And of course, I'm
crazy.
autistic, so I never know. Like, I can't read between the lines. Like, you direct
Looking at
me.
somebody and just saying, you know what I'm going to say
Yeah,
is
like,
insane.
honestly, like, I'm not the kind of person that will know what I don't get
I would be like, bro,
nuances
I don't know
of,
what
like,
you're about to say. That's insane.
exactly. I was like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Like, are you off your head? Like, what are you saying? And he sort of went, "Oh, autism or whatever," and I was like, "What?" And I like it blew my mind because I had no idea like what he was on about.
He was
Like
do
I,
that. He was talking to
so he was talking
that
about my
about your daughter
daughter.
or
Yeah,
you.
yeah. No, my daughter.
Oh,
She was sat
okay.
next to me.
I thought you I thought you went in to like get your daughter. Let's say she's like sick or a cough or something, and then as you're there, he's just looking at you and
Oh
saying like, that's why I was laughing because I
no,
thought he was just like, "Hey, you know what I'm about to say,
that's
right?"
even more
It's like, "What?"
mental. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I brought my kid here. Why are you going crazy at me for? Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah, but
okay.
it was still weird. Like, and it was like, I don't know. It wasn't. I don't think it was very appropriate the way he did it. But anyway, I had no idea what it was on about. And then I was quite offended. I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, you're off.
Yeah,
You're just off the mark here. Like, we've come about something completely different." And then I think I spoke to him separately after that, and he was like, "Oh, well, like no eye contact and this, that, and the other." And I said, "Well, sure." I said, "That's normal. Like,
it's
she
like a
doesn't
kid with a doctor, bro.
she doesn't want to like talk to a strange person. Like, she doesn't like adults or new adults or whatever. Like." She's going to be quiet and not want to look you in the eye. Like, I don't find that weird. And like, I just thought about what I was like as a child. I was like, well, that's exactly what I was like. I hated adults. Like, I just didn't like it. So I was like, well, this is all normal. Like, what are you talking about? But I think
Yeah,
I just took a bit of time and maybe I took a step back from it or something. And I think maybe I spoke to someone. I can't remember if I spoke to a friend or something like that. And just something I thought, actually, maybe like I'm not seeing this objectively.
yeah.
Um, And anyway, like I don't know, a few months down the line, ended up going to get her diagnosed. I had to go private because like it would take forever if you went through the health system here. But and you need a specialist for girls as well, really. Um, Especially a few years ago you did. But anyway, she got diagnosed autistic, and then that even then the penny didn't quite drop for me. But I was just like, okay, well that explains a few things, but that's fine. Like we can deal
So
with this.
when they do that, are they, because like I think everyone, like we were saying before, they always talk about the spectrum thing. Like, are they also saying like, okay, you're diagnosed with it, but like here is also like where you're at, or like what all do they tell you?
Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to remember. Like, I think they do kind of give you a bit more. There's quite a lot of detail in the report because there's different sections and different
Yeah.
things that you, especially for children, that you get graded on. And so there'd be like visual memory and all these different things. And there were certain things like auditory processing she was not so good on auditory memory, but visual memory she was amazing at, and like pattern
So she had to
recognition
do
and
like a
stuff.
whole bunch of tests,
So with
or
all these
what?
little tests and things, yeah, they made it quite fun, and like she
It was
quite
like a day, or
she
like a couple
yeah it
hours.
was
What?
yeah it was a few hours.
Oh wow.
Lots
Okay.
of tests and stuff. But I think she's like me. She quite likes those sort of tests and things, like, and pattern recognition and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so they give you like quite a thorough report. But then I
Okay.
was talking to some people about it afterwards, and like I'd made like I'd made a few friends online, and they were autistic. And one of them said to me, John, he was like, "You realise you're probably autistic as well?" And I was like, "Well, no, what?" And he's like, "Well, how come you think you're like, what? How do you think you're friends with all these people? Like, you're really good friends with us in this group, or whatever, and like we're all autistic." And I was like,
One
"Well,
of
I've
us.
got an affinity,
One of.
man. Like,
Yeah.
just like, I'm just like really open-minded. I get on with everyone." And he was just like, "Okay, like maybe have a
Sounds good.
think about it." And then I just sort of the penny started to drop with me, and I was like, "Okay, that might be why I didn't really notice it in my daughter because I didn't notice anything was different with her because I was just measuring her by my measuring stick, which is me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm autistic as well. So anything she was doing as a child, I was like, well, that's normal because I used to do that. And so yeah, it was just suddenly dawned on me, oh, okay, maybe. And then I went private and had my diagnosis and was diagnosed autistic, which didn't surprise me at that point then because I was like, okay, I'd already kind of started to realize it. But then the ADHD added in was a bit of a surprise. I was like, okay, I didn't
The
really know
what?
that.
The what?
ADHD.
So
And
they
there's
tell you
obviously
that at the same time?
yeah, and because it was a few years ago, I ADHD wasn't as well known then. Like it was starting to get more well known, but you like now I feel like it's everyone talks about
Yeah.
ADHD a lot, right? Um, and so I was a bit like, what? I didn't really get it. And then I read about ADHD properly because I was the same as a lot of people would be like thinking of it's the hyperactive person who just runs
Mm-hmm.
around and whatever. But obviously, it's not always the case. It could be that your brain's doing that, not your body. Um, and so a lot of it did make sense. And I was like, okay, there's a massive crossover as well with autism and ADHD. So it makes sense. Like quite a lot of people have both, or you might have something else as well, or whatever.
So
But
how
yeah,
do you
it's weird. But I guess it's one of those things that you start to look back at your whole life through a different lens a little bit. Because I look back at my childhood and I'm like, okay, explains a lot.
like how does that affect you, like as an entrepreneur, like running, like while running a business?
I have to be I try and so for calls and stuff like that, like I loved being social and coming on calls and chatting to people, but it's draining. Like I really enjoy it at the time, but then I feel really drained afterwards. So what I tend to do is try and have a couple of days of my week where I do calls and meetings and stuff, and then I try to have a couple of days without it because otherwise if I spread it out and I have like one or two every day, it's like every day is then like I'm washed out and it's like I'd rather have just one or 2 days where like it's those are the days that I know I'm going to be on
Yeah.
calls and stuff. Like yesterday, I had loads, and it's better for me to do it like that, and also to kind of make sure I've got space in my diary that if I'm having a day where I've just got nothing in the tank and my brain is just not functioning, I can just be like, okay, I'm just going to nap or just rest
Yeah.
today or whatever. Um, and I get it, not everyone can do that, but I think when you work for yourself, that's one of the joys of it that you should be able to make that time because that's the
Hmm.
whole point of it, really. I mean, I always struggled in 9 to 5 type jobs. Like I did them for years and years. I've done all sorts of different jobs. I'd always get to a certain point where I get bored of like the sort of routine of the 9 to 5, like having to go in every day at this time, and then like I'd always end up
Yes.
having time off sick and stuff because I just get sick of it. I think I didn't realize that's what it was at the time, but I just think I needed like a break in the pattern of it. I just couldn't deal with the constant like having to get up at the same time and rah rah every day. It was doing my head in. So I like the fact that my life's a bit more random now. Like
So what do
it can be
you
different every day.
feel like? What do you feel like? I guess like entrepreneurship is difficult no matter like who you are and like what your background is, but like what allows you to kind of keep like pushing through like those challenges where I think most people would be like, oh, I have this, I can't do this now, or I can't do that. Like, oh, well, like just like it's not possible for me. You know, a lot of people might make up excuses or just say like, this is who I am, so I can't make these dreams happen now.
Yeah, I mean it's this year's been challenging because my son's not been going to school very much because he's struggling. He's autistic as well, and he's just been struggling with the school like setup, and we're just getting it back in part time now. But for me, I've had to accept where I'm at. So I've built up my business, it's done very well, and then I've had to like reset a bit this year because I haven't had the time and the focus to keep it growing up. It's like kind of stagnated, gone down a bit, and now I'm like rebuilding. But that wasn't easy, but I've had to kind of accept that as part of the journey. And also I can look back and be like, well, it did work and I know I can do it. So I just need to tap back into that again when I'm ready, which I've kind of started to do the last couple of weeks. Um, and also I think it's a case of just believing in yourself. It sounds so rubbish on it, but like it's like such a twee thing to say. But like I think having like being in the group or whatever and having other people around you who are like good people or whatever that are kind of on similar journeys, it might be at different points or whatever, but that really helps as well because like being honest with people as well and just being like, oh, actually, it's really
Yeah.
rubbish this week, or actually, I don't have much money, or whatever, rather than being like, oh God, yeah, I'm making like 20K a week or whatever, a
An
half a
hour.
month in, apparently. And it's just
That,
nonsense, really. And like, I know some people are, obviously, but I think sometimes you can like I know they say surround yourself with successful people, but as long as they're honest, like you can easily surround yourself with all those people that are kind of pretending to be that successful. I want to be around the people that are like, yes, they're doing well, but like the people who are honest about their mistakes and stuff as well. And I think
yeah.
that's really important because we're always going to like even when you think you've made it, there's always going to be something else
Right.
that
Right.
could go
Right.
horribly wrong and you have to restart again. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. And I think it is hard, but it's worth it. Also, for me, I'm a single mom now, so I have to pay the bills. Like, there's no one else. There's no one else to pick up the pieces. So I have to make
Mm.
it work. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
choice, really.
Yeah. That's one thing I, excuse me, really do appreciate about the like the mastermind that we have is that I felt when like in the early years of being like an entrepreneur, everyone is just saying like how good they're doing. And if you say like, "Oh, I'm struggling to get clients or I'm not making money," it's almost like you're like it's like weird, you know what I mean? Or like people are like, well, like what's wrong with you? Or like you're not supposed to say, or people tell me like you can't share those things because then people won't buy your stuff or they're not going to want to work with you. Like you can't be
Yeah, yeah,
honest about
exactly.
things, and it's I don't know. I never liked that. I'm like I want people that we can just be honest with because I think there's a lot of people that are really they have really good ideas and really good businesses, but because other people aren't being honest, they give up because they think there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, because
When
they're
in
like, why
reality,
hasn't
it's
it
like,
worked yet? I've done all
yeah,
these
it's like,
things. Like, why am I not making all this money like immediately, like everyone promised me? But of course,
yeah,
pretty much everything is going to involve, like, apart from like sometimes you get a little bit of luck or whatever, like, it's going to take time. Like, everything takes time. Like, it just does. And it's a long-term game, all of this, really, isn't it? Like, it's better to build something long-term than try and have some kind of overnight, short-term,
yeah, 100%.
there's a few shortcuts, you could take and all the rest of it to kind of probably bring in like a few thousand here and there. But then is that going to work long term? Probably not. So
So
yeah.
how did you end up like getting on school and starting like a community?
Yeah, so I've been on there over a year, which is quite seems like quite a long time actually. But I was on Alex Hormozzi's email list. I think I still am, um, because I just quite like his vibe. I've heard him on quite a few podcasts, um, and I like the way he comes across. Like, and funnily enough, in the UK, he doesn't have the best reputation, as a lot of people think he's like a bit of a scammer and stuff like that. And also, there's a bit of in this country, we're not very good at like supporting successful people. We always think there's some kind of scam or like badness
Yeah.
behind it. Like we just are kind of immediately suspicious of anyone that's making a lot of money, I think, because we're kind of
Hmm.
cynical. Um, and I think there's something they call tall poppy syndrome. So it's like as soon as someone's
Tall
rising,
puppy.
yeah, tall poppy syndrome. So if someone does really well and successful, like other people just try and cut them down because they're like
Oh.
rising above everyone else. And people, instead of people, like I would say in America's, I could be wrong, but I would say culturally in America, people are more like, yeah, go on, yeah, it's amazing,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say in the UK, people, if you're doing really well, like people are like, oh God, what the hell are they doing? Like, let's cut them down,
Yeah.
let's slag them off,
Yeah.
let's, undermine them in some way because that we don't want people doing better than us. Like that's
That
just a
that
slightly
makes sense
different
where all
culture.
your makes sense why you're always sending me those negative gifts now.
But we've got that sense of humor. But there is that the sort of it's people often lose friends when they start being successful and stuff because there'll be
Wow.
people who just can't deal with it. Like I've been quite lucky, I think, with most of my friends, and obviously I'm not doing amazing at the moment, or I'm doing a lot better than I was. But when I was starting to do well, you do kind of notice it. There's some people, and also some people that will just always take, take, take. Um, but I think that's just the kind of nature of it a little bit. But yeah, back to the point. Is it is hard to. I don't know what was the point.
Oh,
Say
so
that to
you're
me.
on his you're you're on Alex's email list, and I'm
Yeah,
guessing
yeah,
he
that's
mentioned
it. Yeah, yeah.
school. That's
Sorry.
like,
So I like him, although a lot of people in this country don't. But I listened to his stuff, and I thought he's obviously got successful for a reason. He worked bloody hard and seemingly has no social life. Like it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily the way to do it, but it's a way. And also, I think he does talk a lot of sense, and you can take a lot from what you can take, lots of wisdom from what he says. And anyway, I'm on his email list. I think he just did a push for schools. I think he'd invested in school and he started doing a big push for it. And so I just signed up. I was like, this looks really good. But I had also already been part of someone else's school. And I just hadn't really taken
Mm.
in what it was then. Like I hadn't considered running a school myself, but I was a resume coach for someone else, like a US person. They'd asked me from LinkedIn. They were like, "Oh, can you come in to this community I've got, and I'll pay you and like, run these
Oh,
resume
nice.
coaching
Okay.
sessions." And it's weird when I think back to it because I did that for quite a while, but I almost forgot about it now. Like I don't think of it as school because I wasn't running the group. I was just turning up every week. There's a few people from that group that are in my group now, funnily enough, because they kind of followed me over when I started one. But that his group, I don't know if it's still going, but it kind of fell apart a bit and it didn't work for him. And so I stopped doing that. But then when I had this thing from Alex Hormozy, I was like, well, I have heard of school. And I kind of like the way it was set up. And I was like thinking of doing a community, but I'd always been a bit like, oh, I don't want to run my own community. It'd be too much work. It's like, I don't want to be tied to that. It's going to be annoying and just annoying. But I decided to do an experiment. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to set one up. And then within 2 weeks, I just launched it. Like I didn't. My VA nearly killed me because she was like, "You're doing what?" I was like, "Yeah, I've decided to set up a community. We're going to launch in 2 weeks." Blah blah blah. She was like, what? Like we need more time. What are you doing?" And so we
Yeah.
just did it all really quick because it was just one of the. I think it was just like, right, we're doing it. Let's just do it and try. Um, and yeah, so just that was like a year ago, and obviously the year's up, so could just bin it all off now. But I think it's going well. Got like 236 people, and there's lots of people in there that are really enjoying it and feel like the community is really helping them and stuff like that. So
So what's
it's a
like
fun place
your
to be. I like being on there. Like I feel like I've made friends with lots of people, and it's good.
what's like your vision like with everything, like with like the business and everything in general?
Good question. I'm thinking of bringing the tiers thing. With a kind of low level in the middle tier, and then I've got a current VIP bit anyway, but to have that officially sort of through school, so then people have got options if they do want to pay and to get the extra help. Because at the moment I do a lot for free, which is fine. Like it's good to do stuff for free, but I feel like I need to maybe be a bit more targeted with what I'm doing and be a
Yeah.
bit more kind of like clear about what's free and what's not and stuff. Probably for
But do
my
you
sake
just
and
want it
everyone
to
else's.
be like you just want to have like what's the overall vision? Like you want it to be like, hey, this is like the number one place for people to find a job, or like I want to just grow this community, like kind of like long term,
Yeah,
like
well, I mean,
where.
I want to help as many people as possible, and I'm obviously aware that not everyone will stay around in the community once they've got a job. But at the moment, we've actually got quite a few people that have got jobs and then stayed because they've made friends with people. So that's something I hadn't really realised might happen, which is really nice. So I feel like I'm trying to make it an end to end where it's like not just giving you the tools to get a job, but also then how to develop your career and give you other skills. Like some of the masterclasses we do will be skills after you've got a job as well. Like we had one yesterday that Stefan from our mastermind did, which was really good. It was like what happens after the CV, like when you
Oh, that's cool.
when you once you've got a job, like how should you be dealing with that? Like how can you come across the right way and be a leader in the new job rather than just sort of bumbling along. So it's useful to have those sort of things as well. And then there's the stuff for people to stick around for. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking numbers and what have you, I guess I sort of have vague ideas of it, but not. I mean, my original thing was like I'm going to have 1,000 people by the end of
Not
2025,
numbers, just
but
maybe
that was
like,
just a bit ridiculous, I think. So
yeah. So how do let's say for people that are interested in like how can they find you? Like how can they like connect with you, get into the community, people that are on school that are not on there yet?
yeah, well, it's the Kick-Ass Job Squad on school, kickasscvs.com on the interwebs. And obviously, I'm on LinkedIn as Rebecca Pay. So feel free to join me on there if you're
For
on
now.
LinkedIn. But yeah, so it's yeah, no, yeah, right.
Depending on when you're watching this video.
Oh right, I'm not wasting money on a divorce yet. That's the only reason. I was just a bit of paper in it, and it's like I don't want to waste £600 on it at the moment. So I'm like,
So wait, so how long have you guys technically not I guess like been together though?
I don't know, like 3 years. I think broke up
Oh
3 years ago.
wow. So it's like at this point you just have to pay.
Yeah, you just have to pay and sign some bits
I
and
don't
pieces.
understand like what are we paying for, bro? Like just
I
like
know it's
when you're single it's like I
honestly,
just break up with you. Like
it's the
what is
cheapest
that
way
money?
to do it as well. Like that's the
What's the
cheap. Like
money?
you're
What is the
thinking,
money go what is the money going to? Like what did they actually do?
I know, and the word apparently you have to sign. There's legal like finance stuff you have to sign as well to say that you won't ever like try and claim future money off that. Someone said if you don't sign this bit of finance thing, this is way off topic by the way, but like someone said to me recently, they were like, oh, if you don't get this extra bit of thing where you sign off like so you separate your finances like officially, they could like if you won the lottery or something, they could then make a claim on it or something, like claim on half the winnings if you won the lottery or something. I mean, I don't play
Oh
the
wow.
lottery, but it's that sort of thing. Like, do you mind if say
Yeah.
my friend said to me, she was like, well, say your business became really, really successful and you started making millions, like he could then make some kind of claim against that if you don't have this bit of paper. And I was like, what? So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
tricky.
It's all administration, isn't it? But it just needs to be done
Hmm.
at some point. At some point I'll have a spare £600 and then I'll pay for it.
But 3 years ago is like basically like when you guys split up.
Yes.
But I think I can't remember if this was you that I was talking to, but you said like so like I think I remember you saying that there's a period of time where you were still like
Yeah, we
living
lived
together.
together for another year after that, but that's just because well, obviously we had the kids and I had to find somewhere to live and like have enough money to do that and stuff. So I was just getting my shit together basically.
So it was like so like 3 years
And it took a
ago
long
was when
time to
you guys
get a house and stuff because like the rentals around here, like it's really hard to find somewhere good.
but 3 years ago is when you like split up like in the relationship. But 2 years ago was when you guys stopped living together.
Yes, yeah, because I've had this house 2 years, like
So how
2 years
was
last
it?
week.
Just kind of curious, like how I feel like it's already like hard enough like running a business, but just as is, and then it's like you're in this transition where it's like now you're pretty much like kind of not taking care of them by yourself, but it's like a whole new stage like in your life.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, it's definitely a very different dynamic of stuff, but I've really enjoyed having my own place, to be honest. Like I was saying to a friend last week, because I had my birthday recently and I invited friends around for drinks like a couple of days before. And like I loved hosting them in my house and like having people around.
but how's that
Whereas
different than
before I would
before?
never have done that. I
Oh,
never had
wait,
anyone
why is
around
that?
me. I don't know. I didn't like the house was always felt like it was a bit messy and like disorganized and And I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable doing that before.
Oh, okay.
Whereas now, I don't know. I really love having people around now. It's weird.
That's interesting.
Like, I don't know. I guess it just wasn't quite myself, or I don't know. It just wasn't the right relationship. He's not a bad person, and like I wouldn't have had kids with him if he was a bad person. But I'm lucky. I feel lucky that I've not had kids with someone who I then end up hating or whatever, because that must be awful.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel bad for people that are in that situation. But we're still kind of friends. Like we make an effort to be friends to try and make it okay for the kids, and we'll still see each other on Christmas Day, so the kids see us both, and
Oh, that's cool.
for birthdays and stuff like that. We went round like on his birthday. We went round and like put a banner up and balloons and
A banner up.
yeah, like saying happy birthday banner.
Oh, where did you put that?
I don't know, in the house. And then like the kids wanted to hide behind the sofa and pop out when he got home from work and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
that's cool. That's cool.
but I
So,
think like
like,
we make those sort of little efforts, and like that's nice. Like you can be end up being really petty, I think, with someone. And it's not
yes. So, like
cool, is it?
that
That's not
year when
cool
you
for the
guys
kids
were
to see.
the year when because I can like I actually met someone that was doing this right now. They are they're married to someone, but for I guess like the lawyer's recommendation of like the financial reasons, like she didn't want to like move out of the house because they're like, oh, you need to try to get as much stuff. And he was just
Oh
saying
yeah,
like, bro,
yeah.
every day is like so petty, like it just sucks, like every day. Like, how was that year for you? Was that how was that for you?
It wasn't brilliant, but I think it wasn't. It sounds weird, but I think he was sort of in denial for a lot of it. Not that we were still together, but I think he could. I don't know. I don't
It's
think he
like there's a
fully.
chance, maybe. I
I
guess,
don't think
kind
he
of.
fully accepted we split
Yeah,
up when we were still living in the same house. Like it wasn't great some of the time, but like generally speaking, it worked okay. And actually, it was when I moved out was worse because then he got really petty and ridiculous for a bit, like for a period of time, and like I think everyone sort of processes things differently. Whereas I'd processed the
yeah,
breakup way before it even happened, really, because I was already kind of emotionally out of the relationship. Like happens with a lot of women, I think we kind of realize way before the man does, and then we've already processed it, and then they're like, "What the hell's going on?" Like they're kind of a few steps behind. But I think that's because I was already excited. I was excited to get my new house, and then he started being really petty and weird, like when I actually moved out. But I think that was because suddenly reality hit. Then it was like, oh god, like
yeah.
he actually is going. Like what the hell? So I think that was probably the hardest time
How
because
far
that
away did
was
you move?
two streets down. Funnily enough,
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I know, not far at all. But I got like a few friends around to help me move stuff because also I had some big stuff to move. And like it was quite hard work by myself, and so I had a few friends help me and things like that. But he wouldn't get but he wouldn't help, and he was just like being a bit of an idiot about it. But like it's all calmed down now and it's fine. But everyone deals with breakups differently, and
Right, right.
everyone it's never going to be completely smooth sailing, is it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
rarely amicable on both sides.
one question that I do want to ask you before I forget that I try to ask everyone is like because we don't know who's going to watch this video like in the short term or in the future, and what connections or resources they have. What is something that you feel like you could use help with that'll help you like achieve the goals that you have?
I don't know. That's a hard question for me, Dee, because I'm not very good at asking for help or always realizing what help I need. Like, because I always think I can do everything. So I'm like, I can do it all myself. Um, one thing I want to do is break into corporate with doing outplacement services. Do you know what outplacement is?
No.
Where so say a company makes a load of people redundant, they'll often pay for a company to come in and like help them with their CVs, or as part of their kind of redundancy package, they'll be like, "Oh, we'll help you with your CV, and we'll help you find a job," or whatever. Like that's something they have to, as part of the agreement, they kind of give them. But a lot of the outplacement services are awful, um, and it's like some kind of faceless company or whatever that give them the kind of generic advice, and it's a bit rubbish. Whereas I know obviously that my CV help would be really valuable to people, and I've worked with a few small companies doing that, but it would be
Uh-huh.
good to kind of break more into a corporate world. So anyone who's got kind of, I guess, advice on that sort of stuff of how you break into corporate, situations with that kind of outplacement thing would be useful, because that's just something I've not done with my business really. I've always been B2C rather than B2B,
Oh yeah.
so I just feel a bit out of my comfort zone with it. I don't really know where to start.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you never know. Maybe somebody sees this and they're like, hey, we
Yeah,
want
yeah,
you to
exactly. You never
do
know.
this, or if somebody knows somebody, share with them. Anything else that you want to share before we hop off here?
Um, I don't know really. I think just that to say, like, not that it's, we have to be some big promo for the mastermind, but obviously I'm in the mastermind in Undeterred and it is really good. Like I feel like it is a really lovely space you've created where everyone's always so supportive. Like I've never
Well, yeah.
sit in one of the meetings and think, oh God, I feel really uncomfortable, or someone's being weird, or who's this idiot? Like I've never felt like that. I feel
Yeah,
like all the people in there are like good people and everyone just wants to
yeah, I
see
guess
each
like
other
what do
succeed.
you like the most like about it? Like what do you think makes it so like good?
I think it's just the people, honestly. I just think it's good quality people. Like everyone's really honest and like laid back and like friendly and stuff, and it's not like super formal and you have to do like some weird pitch, or like, do you know what I mean? Like some group situations you get into can feel a bit awkward. I just
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like you can kind of say whatever you want and everyone's cool with it. Like you don't have to agree with everything, obviously, but like everyone's open to share ideas and stuff like that, and you don't feel like you can't say what you
I
think.
think one thing that's been interesting for me is like because like we recently started this community not too long ago, so it's not making like crazy money, but like so there's been times where it's like, oh man, I could really use the money, but there's been people that have applied where I'm like, this would like really. I always think like if we were at dinner together, like how would the vibes be? So there's been times where I tell people like, I think you should just stick with this, and it's like people get so upset, but I'm like, the fact that you're so angry when I suggest like, hey, why don't we start with this for now and then see it in a little bit, like kind of tells me like, okay, you might not have like if that's how you're acting already, you might that maybe we're right about that decision. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you have to go with your instincts on that sort of stuff. And it makes sense. And I'm glad you are that picky because I think it makes a big difference. Like if
yeah,
you
my
just let
goal is like
everyone in there, do you know what I mean? Like whatever, then it's gonna like, it's gonna kind of make it worse in some ways. Like it's bound to.
yeah, my goal would be to have like the things inside of the community, the tiers be pretty like affordable for like most people because like I feel like there's not a lot of high quality support for entrepreneurs, regardless of what country you're in. So I want it to be able to be like, hey, you could be in Albania or the U.S. or Colombia or whatever. But then I want to have like the mastermind and the one on one be like more high ticket. So that's going to be like more selective. So I think in order to do that, it has to be at like a high quality, like a high level. Like I don't want to just be someone that just charges a lot, but then people get in there and like, what the hell is this? Like, so I think it's like making it really good and then getting the testimonials and then from there, like being able to grow it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're doing a good job so far. So a thumbs up from me. And I'd tell you if I thought it was crap.
It's like you're the one person I would say it sucks if it did.
Yeah, everyone needs someone like that.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Anything else before we hop off here? I appreciate you coming on here and doing this.
No, anytime. I'm happily chat to you, D, anytime.
All right, well, we'll schedule a call for tomorrow then. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man. Alrighty. Well, appreciate you, and then for everybody else, I guess we'll just see you guys on the next one, and just drop some comments on. And let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for listening and watching if you did.
See ya.